All right, hello Kiwi. I'm taking a look now at your project from week 7. So you've written yours in APA and it looks very good here. I appreciate your interesting title. That's cool. So let's see how you've done here. You repeated the title here. That's great. All right, living with a little bit of stress may actually be a good thing. Without the lows of life, the highs don't flow as high. So how can you tell when you might be experiencing too much? Okay, so that's a good introductory um, thoughts, right? Good sentence, a couple sentences there. Article written by Nicole Pelusi, Take a Break, has great points about stress being published during a financial crisis. Its timing could not be better. It sets an amazing precedent for its target audience that is applicable to younger audiences as well, especially those moving into their college years. Pelosi said simply that stress is truly unavoidable reality of life. Pelosi, okay, good job. Citations there, good citation. They're simply moving out of the family. Okay, so your writing here is pretty good. It's not bad at all. But it does look to me like you did not use the exemplar still. And the exemplar is really important to follow because your thesis statement here um, doesn't really show me. Uh, I mean, it's not a bad thesis statement, but it doesn't really line up the important the I'm trying to think of how to word this. The proper function of a thesis statement for a paper like this, where you're trying to persuade and trying to tell people how to, whether or not an article is good or not for them, is to basically set up your major points that you're going to discuss in the body paragraphs by alluding to them in the thesis statement. And that is shown to you, that is exemplified to you in the exemplar. So, so let me go ahead and see what you did do here with it, if it does follow any to some degree. All right, so you say whether it's moving out of the home or experiencing family death, eventually life throws you curveball. Okay, so for one thing here, I can see your topic. I can tell what genre you believe is written from her and from Pelosi's viewpoint when the verbs you use here, such as that she states. So that tells me you probably thought it was informational. I can. The purpose could be clearer, um, and if the thesis statement were more correctly written. Um, let's see, audience. So I don't know who your audience. This is the big problem right here in the introduction, is I don't know who your audience is. You talk about uh, you talk about financial crisis, and here you say it eventually throws you a curveball. You really, it's best to avoid you. It's best to avoid like second person like that in writing, in the serious writing, because it seems too conversational. Um, but to me, that basically just says it could be anybody. Your audience could literally be anybody. And the idea was to focus your audience on a specific group of people that was different from Nicole Pelusi's audience. So to me, it doesn't look like you've done that. Or at least I'm not seeing anything yet about it. So Pelusi's text is an informative one, aiming to teach the reader about stress. Specifically, Pelusi wants to inform the reader how they can lower stress. Okay, so it looks like um, you've clarified the purpose there, I think. So I can definitely increase that a little bit by your first sentence or two there. Um, you do allude a little bit to the when you talk about her article being published during the financial crisis and the timing being good and everything, that kind of alludes to the historical and cultural context. So I can give you that. And I think your core idea is in there. So let me read now and see what you've done when it comes to the details and evidence. So, yeah, so like here you say the rest of the paragraph one is spent being related, or is spent being relatable to Pelosi's, excuse me, target audience of the elderly. It talks about how with improvements in technology, like, um, so yeah, you're covering, you're basically, it just seems like you're doing a lot of the same thing in this paragraph that you did in the introduction. It seems to me like you're just trying to make sure you cover all of the rubric elements, and that's not the best way to write your papers. That's why I stress the importance of using the exemplar, because the exemplar will show you that this should just be an essay that's written to that audience, helping that audience understand what's good about the article and perhaps also what's not so good about the article and why they should consider it. And it just happens to, and it includes these elements, but they're not so matter of factly implemented. It's almost like what you've done here is you've just answered these points in a list of responses and then put those responses into paragraph form. And that's not really what we're looking for. Um, so you don't really have, your details aren't really, I mean, you do have details. I can give you some partial credit for that, but the problem is you're not really providing a lot of, well, you do cite her here. You cite her here and here. So you do provide some citations. So I guess I have to give you the credit for I do have to give you the credit for having some evidence there. Um, and this is just part one. So we'll see how you did with part two. So you got your reference page there, and that looks okay. All right, so let's see how you did with your new audience. So your new audience is in a separate submission, which they really was supposed to all be on one document, but that's okay. We'll go to that second one. Now, most of my students that have done this, and a few of them have, uh, when they try to put it on two different documents, they end up not doing such a good job at part two here, the introducing the audience. So, and yeah, unfortunately, you've done the same thing here. You don't actually have, if you look at the exemplar, I'm going to show you real quickly what I'm talking about because I keep referring to the exemplar, and I want to make sure you understand what I mean by that. When I look at the exemplar here, notice in part two, it actually identifies the new audience in its own paragraph. See that? Then it says second version of the paper. So this is why it's so important, so vital to follow the exemplars whenever your teachers provide them. You really, really need to use them. The whole idea is that they're there to help you really create great work. So you don't have anything here about the new audience, so I have to take that off. Let me see here. Second audience. Oh, I take that back. You do have it there. You just don't have it labeled. Okay, good. That's good. All right. Living with a little bit of stress may actually be a good thing without the. Now, who is your second audience? Children moving into high school. Okay. Okay, so let's see if you do actually address them there. Let's see. Basically the same wording as the first draft. Now here you do introduce the younger audiences, especially those moving into high school years. Okay, thesis statement is essentially the same thing. And then your body paragraphs look like they're pretty much the same. So you haven't really addressed the audience's needs too much or adopted the writing situation very much because it's all here. You even still talking about the financial crisis and stuff, and this really has nothing to do with finances now. It's all about this. It's supposed to be about the students, right? Younger students. Um, Okay, so writing style's okay. Conventions are suffering a bit from not having done this properly. Your communication's clear though. Citations are good. So you still ended up with getting a good grade in spite of everything I was saying there. Probably sounded like it was going to be terrible, but but you still ended up with a good solid B there. So that's good. So good job. It could have been an A had you. It definitely would have been an A had you actually used that exemplar, but a good high B isn't bad at all. So just be sure to reach out if you need help with anything or have any questions. And otherwise, that will do it for this video.